When you're looking at a wine cooler, the first thing that makes you pause isn't the glossy finish, or the number of bottles it can hold, it's the question of whether it will actually fit into the rhythm of your everyday life without turning into a costly piece of decor that gathers dust. I've spent a good amount of time reading what people in wine clubs, small space apartments, and even casual weekend hosts are saying about built-in wine refrigeration, and I'm going to walk through the real-world pros and cons of the EdgeStar CWR1432TZ so you can decide if it's a match for your cellar or your kitchen counter. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the EdgeStar brand has been around for more than 2 decades, which tells me they've survived enough market shifts to understand the basics of temperature control. This model is a 24-inch wide unit that promises 3 separate temperature zones and a capacity of 131 standard bottles. That sounds impressive on paper, but the true test is how those zones behave when you're pulling a bottle for dinner or swapping a summer rose for a winter Cabernet. In practice, the 3-zone system is controlled by a single digital thermostat that lets you set each compartment anywhere between 40 F and 65 F. The zones share the same cooling coil, so the compressor works harder when the lower zone is set to 45 F and the upper zone is at 60 F, which can raise the energy draw a bit, but for most households that difference is hardly noticeable on a monthly electric bill. If you're the kind of host who likes to keep a variety of wines on hand, maybe a few whites for brunch, a couple of reds for dinner, and a few bottles of sparkling for celebrations, this cooler's 3-zone layout could be a genuine time saver. I've seen a few users set the bottom zone around 50 F for reds, the middle zone near 45 F for whites, and the top shelf at 55 F for rose or lighter reds that they want a touch warmer. Because the shelves are adjustable, you can stack taller bottles in one zone and keep the slimmer bottles in another, which means you're not forced into a one-size-fits-all arrangement. In a real kitchen, that translates to less juggling when you need a specific style. You just pull the right zone and you're set. On the flip side, the triple zone claim can be a bit of a double-edged sword for people who don't actually need that much separation. If you mostly drink one style of wine, you'll likely end up using only one zone and leaving the other 2 as empty space, which is an inefficient use of the cooler's interior volume. Some reviewers have noted that the middle and upper zones can drift a few degrees away from the exact set point when the bottom zone is set at its coldest, especially if the door is opened frequently. That's a natural consequence of sharing a single cooling system, but it's something to keep in mind if you're a stickler for precise temperature control down to the single degree. One of the practical strengths of this model is the stainless steel finish. It has a muted, professional look that blends well with both modern kitchen cabinets and more traditional bar setups. The exterior doesn't show fingerprints as readily as a glossy black or white unit, which means it stays looking clean even after a few months of frequent door opening. Inside, the LED display is bright enough to read in a dimly lit cellar, and the temperature controls are tactile enough that you don't have to fumble with a smartphone app just to tweak a setting. For people who want a straightforward, plug-and-play experience, that simplicity can be a breath of fresh air compared to some high-tech units that require Wi-Fi pairing and app updates. Energy consumption is another practical point. The EdgeStar cooler uses a single compressor and fan, which is fairly standard for built-in units of this size. While the exact wattage isn't listed in the spec sheet, the unit's Energy Star rating, when applicable, suggests it's designed to be efficient enough for continuous operation. In a real-world scenario, you'll likely leave it running year-round, and the modest power draw means you won't see a spike in your utility bill. However, if you're planning to keep it in a small apartment where you already have limited plug space, remember that the unit requires a dedicated 120V outlet and a bit of clearance behind it for airflow. That's a hidden trade-off that can be easy to overlook during the initial excitement. Who should buy this cooler? If you have a modest collection, say 50 to 80 bottles, and you enjoy serving different wine styles on a regular basis, the EdgeStar CWR1432TZ gives you the flexibility to keep each style at its optimal temperature without needing separate appliances. It's also a solid choice for anyone who wants a built-in look without breaking the bank. The price point is lower than many premium wine refrigerators that tout similar capacity. Additionally, the adjustable shelves and solid construction make it